So this is going to be hopefully a quick video here. I'm in the process of unburying my car. We had a kind of a pretty big, hefty snowstorm. We got about 50 centimeters of snow dumped on us over a 2-day period, in which I didn't have to use my car, so it sat on my car, warmed up, froze, warmed up, froze. So now I've got snow on top of a big chunk of ice covering. Anyway, it's kind of a pain in the ass. It's sort of a scrape and chip, while the car warms up, and then scrape and chip some more and kind of work my way through it. So that's kind of interesting. But I got to get my car out, otherwise if we get hit again, it's not going anywhere for the rest of the winter time, basically. So I'm doing that, and I thought I would, while the car is warming up in between, I'd record a quick video and then take off. So this is a who is tag from Tioliah. By the way, this is gonna be a shout out to Tioliah because she's really amazing. Check out her channel. I will put a link down below. She does science vids and Indian cooking vids, which I have not tried any of the recipes on yet, but I love, as if I've mentioned before in videos, I love curry dishes, curry cooking. So I'm really excited to try some of these. But anyway, just really fun videos. Really an enjoyable person. She subbed to me is how I found her, and I just started checking out a couple of her videos and have been just absolutely impressed. Awesome stuff. So check her out, please. But she tagged me for the who is explaining your username tag, and I've done this before a couple of times, not in a tag format, but I've explained it. But it sounded like something worth doing. Again, there's always a new crop of subscribers who haven't seen my old videos. So I am, my username, Lithodidman, actually came about years ago, long before YouTube, long before I had anything to do with YouTube or any such thing. But I used to do onto the Usenet, some of the Evo Creo discussion boards on Usenet, and I would spend a lot of time there. I don't even recall some of the names of them. And then subsequently on the web-based ones, things like Talk Rational, EVC Forum, and more recently the James Randi. And I always used Lithodidman as my username just because, and I'll explain why in a bit. And then when YouTube, I just transferred all over. So that's kind of the origin of the YouTube version of it. But the original name comes from the fact that from Lithodid, Lithodidea is a family of crustaceans. They're called the king crabs commonly. So a famous Alaskan king crab is a lithodid crab, but it also includes a whole bunch of other smaller, less, they're not as important commercially. And just to show you real quick, here's one right here. This is Lithodes aquaspina. This is called the golden king crab. This one is it's a commercially important local harvest. It's not the one that you it's not the one that you see in the grocery stores, or Red Lobster or anything like that. That's usually the red king crab. This is the golden king crab. It's slightly deeper, a more stable population than the red king crab, actually, even though it's not as commercially harvested in most of Alaska. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the harvest thing with it. But they're all good. But there's a whole bunch of really small, truly really bizarre members of this family. And the reason that I chose the username for that is that I was originally planning on going into grad school, starting a master's program and studying lithodid crabs here in Alaska. It turns out I ended up in a completely other side of the country studying shrimp, but it was too good of an opportunity to pass up. And then when I got into a PhD program, it was I followed up with continuing on with shrimp studies. So I never did get to study lithodid crabs, but I always maintained an interest in them. And that interest is because king crabs are actually modified hermit crabs. So they're actually cladistically nested within what we would call the hermit crab clade, the pergurid clade. And they're nested within those, and they're really modified hermit crabs, even though they look like, they look like you might look at a snow crab, for example, tanner crab, snow crab, or Dungeness crab, or blue crab, and they superficially have all the same parts and look similar. They're actually really distantly related, very distantly related. And what there are is they're a modified hermit crab that is abandoned using, if hermit crabs put their abdomen inside of a snail shell or some other object. king crabs have abandoned that and have calcified their abdomen, and so the convergent evolution, they look like a true crab. But because of all of this, they have all of these weird features that don't make any sense, meaning they're just these anomalous traits that they have that are actually somewhat make their lives a challenge. Like they can't take calcium out of seawater, which hermit crabs can't do, at least not very efficiently, and because they don't need to. King crabs can't do it, even though they need to. So king crabs have to work around this physiological problem, which to me is fascinating. So they have all these constraints that sort of the stamp of hermit crab ancestry on them that makes their lives a challenge. Anyway, and so they're a great example of evolution. Plus, because of we have like 21 species here in Alaska, and that means all of the morphological gradients between them and hermit crabs, for particular features, we have all of these traits. Anyway, so they're a great example of evolution, and if you can explain it, if you can sit a creationist down and talk them through and show them all of the samples and steps and everything like that with actual specimens in hand, you can usually get, if they're at all intelligent, you can get an admission that yes, indeed, they accept that this evolved into this, but they claim it's just microevolution, which once you get that, then you're saying, well, then now you're saying that kind, in the biblical sense, extends to within superfamily status. I mean, so you can really get a lot. You can get a lot out of by showing this gradations in form without having to rely on fossils. And the beauty of it is that it's supported by morphology, it's supported by fossils, and it's supported by biochemistry, and it's supported by a sperm morphology. There's been a lot of studies on sperm morphology. So all these independent areas, they all show an identical tree with king crabs and hermit crabs, which to me, when you have multiple lines of evidence within this small group, it's really a compelling story that's really hard to deny. You have to truly be nick-tarded to deny this. So anyway, that's why I use that username, Lithodidman, and I'd stick to it. And it's kind of I get asked about it, and it gives me a great example to tell that fun little evolutionary tale. All right, I am going to tag the following YouTube users. Now, this is almost off the top of my head. I mean, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, but it's not. This wasn't like I planned out and thought, those are the people I most want to know. This is just really the ones that I thought of that I thought would be interesting. And if you've already been tagged for this or already done this tag, and I missed it, I apologize. So I am going to tag Brian Tulsa. Now I know you just less than an hour ago you said that when I mentioned that I would tag you, you said that it's obvious and there's no need to. But I still want to, even though maybe the origin of your name is obvious, why you chose it maybe isn't obvious. Why that? There's something. I'm sure there's something interesting that I wouldn't mind hearing, and I'm sure lots of other people out there that love your channel would love to hear it as well. So Brian Tulsa, you're tagged. Rhyme Maiden 1. I'm curious about that. It's I want to know. And again, if you've already answered it, I apologize, but I want to hear it again. I haven't heard it. Let's put it that way. JC Rebel. Now I can infer, but at the same time, I don't know. JC Rebel. I think JC Rebel 18. I'm curious. Night Vision Phantom. Now I know it's very clever when you used to do the night vision thing and all this stuff, but I'm curious as to why where that came from. I want to know. And Sumatashi 24. Now I know I've chatted with you a lot, but I still don't know where Sumatashi 24 comes from. And again, if any of these are so obvious that I'm missing the point, I apologize, but if I'm missing it, somebody else is as well. So that's worthy of explanation. So you guys are tagged, and I will talk to you later.